Hey there, it's Chris Acton with Acton Creative, and this is a handwoven experience. And in today's episode, I am bringing you the Curvy Undulating Twill. Now, of that title, Undulating Twill, you've probably heard of the twill part, right? As a weaver, when you first start, you pretty much learn plain weave and then immediately you learn twill. Twill is a huge category with all kinds of amazing possibilities. And what makes twill really distinctive is this diagonal feature in the fabric. And of course you can combine that to make not just diagonals, but like little arrows and little diagonals and zigzags. The possibilities are endless, honestly. And that's what makes twill so much fun. So this undulating twill is just like a little crazy little cousin of all of his other twill patterns that just looks a little different than a standard twill. So let's talk about the word undulating. Now, when I hear the word undulating, I think of people doing the wave, like a sporting event, you know, when they all stand up with their arms, the whole thing. Yeah, that effect is an undulating effect. It's this great kind of curvy look. But you know, we're weavers. We don't work in curves. No. We don't do that. So it's an optical illusion, truly. We're not actually curving our warp yarns or weft yarns at any point during the pattern. But the goal then is how do we change the angles of the diagonals so they look like they're curvy? That's the whole point. Let me show you an example. This is a swatch from the April 2024 Weave Along where Undulating Twill was the theme. Look at that. Okay, how fun is that? Now, do you see how the lines, let's follow like this line right here. See, it kind of is angled this way and then it kind of gets fatter and a little slower and then it goes, do you see this cool effect? Isn't that fun? And my friends, it's not hard at all. If you can do a twill, you can do some undulating twill. But this is an example of what an undulating twill can look like. And in my research, as I was kind of looking around at various drafts and what other people had done for undulating twill, I found that it's most common to create the undulating effect in the threading, in the warp yarns. That was the most common spot to actually change the spacing of things so that you had this like curvy effect. But you can also do it in the weft yarns for sure. So of course, you know me, I decided I would try to put it in both. So let me tilt you down and I'll show you how I tackled undulating twill. Okay, here I am sitting at my table loom. And like I said, in so many of the drafts, what I found is that people created that curvy effect by changing the spacing of their warp yarns, by specifically assigning the warp yarns differently in the shafts. And here's what I did for mine, is that everywhere that I had a very dark green stripe, right, where I dark green warp yarns, I did straight draw. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, basic, easy, great. But every place where I had the lighter green stripes, I doubled that. So I would do one warp yarn in shaft 1 and then the next one in shaft 1. And then 2 and 2 and 3 and 3 and 4 and 4. So what that does is that it changes the size of the floats in the fabric, altering the look of the diagonals. So that was how I kind of modified the threading for my undulating twill. Let's talk about the treadling, huh? So this pattern that I chose is a 2-2 twill, which means I always have 2 shafts up and 2 shafts down. It's always this kind of combination. And you always just kind of move over one slot so that they're always neighbors, right? So here's how I did it. I took my weft here, my shuttle, send it right through. It's a 2-2 twill. This is all we're gonna do, right? 1, 2, and then shafts 2 and 3. Shafts 3 and 4, and then 4 and 1, right? That gives us this beautiful little diagonal, and you can see everywhere that I have the threading is doubled, it already looks kind of crazy and cool, right? However, I took it one step further, and I decided I would go back through the 2-2 twill sequence, but I would double it up. Now, because it's a twill, I always have floating selvages. So I'm going to leave everything as it is. I'm just going to wrap around my floating selvage and come back so I have 2 yarns in the same shed space. Next one, 2 and 3. Just like this. Wrap it around. 3 and 4. You see it, right? Whoops, there we go. Wrap that around like that. Let me get it under. And then 4 and 1. So what this does then is that, here, I'll put up a close-up right here so you can see kind of what we just did. What that does is it kind of changes the thinness and the thickness of the diagonals, and the diagonals aren't at the same angle all the time. So it gives the illusion of curves. Isn't that fun? It is just, I had so much fun with this pattern, and I hope that if you haven't experimented with it, that you will give it a try, because with just a few modifications, you can really create some kind of, it looks so complicated and so advanced when it's not hard at all. And it really kind of makes your eyes cross, which is fun. Which is fun because as weavers, we're pretty straightforward and, you know, straight lines and all the good things, but to create that kind of optical illusion, that's a good time. All right, friends, if you haven't given Undulating Twill a try yet, now is a great time. Why not? Have a wonderful week. Happy weaving.